Step into the light where the wild ones roam, where the heart speaks loud, calling this place home. We break the rules, we paint the sky, ridiculously you, we were born to fly. Ooh, ooh, it's ridiculously you.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Ridiculously You podcast, where authenticity wins, weirdness is welcome, and loving the messy, magnificent parts of yourself isn't just allowed, that's just who we are. We welcome it. Today's guest has built an entire world out of the parts herself that she thought she needed to hide in the past. And you guys know that story, but sometimes it comes out in different ways with each of our guests. Now, she is an artist. She's a writer. She's a YouTuber. We're going to talk more about that. She is the founder of Zuzu's House of Cats, a place that's been described as her safe space to be seen exactly as who she is and how you are as well. She calls herself the queer AuDHD artist, dresses like what she describes as an off-duty glamour punk, which I love her sense of style. Y'all know I love style. Like, I am here for it. And she lives in a very kind of conservative area, so that's interesting too. She reads 10 books a week, occasionally snorts when she laughs, and believes she might actually be a pile of cats wearing a sparkly trench coat. So with that, it's not quite the intro. I always get to the end and people are like, that's how you're introducing me. Correct. With that, we are going to welcome Elinor Trier, or as many people know her, Zuzu, to the podcast. Welcome, Ellie.
Thank you so much for having me and for a fabulous introduction. I love it. Always makes me laugh, you know. When you just the way you describe yourself makes yourself laugh. I think you're onto a winner, right?
I think so. I think so. There is some, and it's so interesting, like how hearing the way that you see yourself and describe yourself through somebody else's mouth, there's something that goes, God, I'm kind of badass. That's really cool when somebody else says it, right?
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, can we dive into art a little bit? Because you are
Sure.
an artist, and y'all, you guys have to, I'm like, immediately go to her website, which is Zuzu's House of Cats. It is phenomenal. I told her, I'm like, we get so many applications in to come and be on this podcast. And the thing that won me over was this website is an act of beauty and art in and of itself. But, like, how did you get into art in the first place? Because your art is so expressive.
Well, I grew up around art. So my mum was an amateur artist. And very, very into kind of art history. Our house was always full of art and books about art, and it just sort of like seeped into my very kind of DNA as I was growing up.
Mm.
And I didn't come to it personally until quite late because, you know, when you're a kid, you get sort of assigned roles. My brother was a musician from a very early age, and he's a bit of a prodigy. So he was the creative one, and I was the organized one because, as well as being very creative, I also have that sort of logistical, analytical side to me as well. And unfortunately, what that meant was in my 20s, I felt like I wasn't really allowed to express the creative side of me.
Oh yeah, because you're
Uh,
the analytical one. Yeah.
exactly, which is, oh, it's torture, absolute torture. But eventually I kind of came around to it and I started just playing and messing about and having a fun time. And it really came to a head around 2012. I had a blog project that I was doing to help me kind of overcome a period of depression. And it was called the Gratitude Project. It's looking back on it now, it's like cringe-worthy and earnest and but at the time, it was a project where I did an illustration and wrote a thank you letter to somebody who had made my life better. Whether that was like a musical artist who'd written a song that lifted my mood, or an author, or people who are alive or dead or famous or in my personal life, just anyone who had made me feel a little bit better. And it ended up being incredibly popular. and it ended up turning into a book, and I had a whole exhibition of all of the pieces I did. And from that, I started to get people asking me if I would do illustrations for them. And that sort of launched this whole sort of career as an illustrator. And I did that for about 5 years and it was great. But I realized that what I didn't want was to be creative to somebody else's specifications. Like that was starting to feel
Oh
very
yeah.
restrictive. And I stopped sort of making art just for myself because everything kind of got put into this very like commercial box. So I went off and did something else. I went back to my sort of marketing background. I did digital comms. I ran an agency where I helped people with relationship marketing and community building. And as I was doing that, my brain was going like, how, if I want to be an artist in public, how can I do it in such a way that doesn't compromise my values or my enjoyment of this, or making the stuff that I really want to make, because I've got stuff inside me that has to come out, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I realized that that was it. It was just making that a hard and fast rule. My job is to make what I'm called to make and find the people for whom that resonates, rather than making what people might want to buy or consume in a commodified way. So it's been a wibbly wobbly kind of epic journey. But what I'm finding is that slowly I'm building up this hardcore group of people who will follow me from making art about neurodivergence to making art about the patriarchy to making like weird, misfit, queer, freaky, neurodivergent lifestyle vlogs, and anything else that wants to come out of me. They're willing to follow along with the journey because they're connecting with the core messages of what I'm putting out there.
Mm. Was that a hard transition? Because like my brain, we get along on so many levels on this like understanding. Because I have this, I every time I work with somebody, I'm like, I have this massively analytic brain that is going to go, these are the systems, this is the patterns, this is how things work. Additionally, there's the woo-woo side of me and the energetic side of me and the creative side of me that also says this, and they kind of like play together. But like there is, there can be at any rate a war in your head of like, I know analytically like these are how things work, and in the past I've gotten paid to do this, and in the past money has looked like this. Was, tell me the transition of like you're getting paid to do the thing, I'm getting paid to do illustrations, I'm getting paid to do marketing, I'm getting paid to do these kinds of things in that way, to like being able to fully express yourself, because I think that's what, oh, so many people want. Man, if I could just fully express myself, if I could just do the thing that I absolutely love, and the people would come to me and I would get paid at the best level from that. Like, tell me that about that transition for you and how it's showing up for you right now.
Oh, well, firstly, I have to say, it is not easy. It is not easy. When you are fully expressed, when you're doing the kind of stuff that I'm doing, you don't fit into one of these nice, easily categorized boxes. You're not niched in a particular way. And that makes it difficult for both people and algorithms, because we do have to think about that in, you know, the age that we're living in. It makes it difficult for people to put you in the right box and categorize you. And I know it would be so much easier. I would make it so much easier on myself if I decided to just stick to one thing and to perform these prescribed steps in order to get, like, I know how to play that game. I've played that game for many years, but it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off between, okay, I know I can do this and I can make it work, but I also have to accept the fact that it's going to take time. Not everybody is going to get it. And I have to be fine with people not understanding me. And maybe some people who would love it would bounce off because they need to take a little bit of time to actually come into my world. And so the way I looked at that was, okay, well, let's make that a virtue. Make that a feature and not a bug. So when I was putting together the website, I designed it on this sort of very Zen principle of good friction rather, which is that kind of like chop wood, carry water vibe. So
Yes.
the
Yes.
idea is for anybody who isn't familiar, the idea is that the things that you have to give of yourself to, such as tending a fire, you have to go and find your firewood, you have to chop it, you have to bring it in, you have to, keep an eye on the fire, keep it going. That gives you a deeper sense of satisfaction, of ownership, of value. You value the things that you have to pay for a little bit more than the stuff that's just completely frictionless and convenient and comes to you for free. So the trade-off that I made was, okay, not everybody's going to be able to make it into this world that I've created. But the people who do, it's designed in such a way that if you do give a little bit of yourself, if you do spend a little bit of time wandering around the website and going into all the different rooms and things, you are richly rewarded with this sense of belonging, of feeling like you've found a space where it's okay to be who you are. And the deeper you come into the world, the more intense and sticky that feeling is.
I love it so much. I love it so much. Can you share with us a little bit more about discovering more about who you are? Because in order to like express who you are, feel safe with who you are, like there's a piece of time, I imagine, where you went, okay, I'm not just good at analytical stuff. I'm not just the person who's good at this piece. There's a full spectrum of an Ellie. There's a full spectrum of a Julian, of all of the people out there. Like, can you tell us like your personal journey with discovering and like uncovering the truth of who you are underneath that and how that's coming out more and more through your art and through other things you do?
Yeah, this is a really interesting it's a really interesting journey, I think, and I'm sure a lot of people who are interested in the kind of stuff that you're doing are going to resonate with this. I am neurodivergent, so I am autistic and I have ADHD, which has meant that for the vast majority of my life, I was so heavily masked. I had no idea who I was at all. I was just in survival mode, desperately trying to fit in with a world that just was not made for me in any way, shape, or form. And it wasn't until I got a formal diagnosis in my late 30s that I was able to really like understand my life up until that point and pass out what had been going on and where I was crushing myself and squeezing myself into this kind of box of conformity. And there was something for me, I mean, it wasn't an instant thing, it took about a year, but there was something for me about having somebody say like, oh no, it's okay, like you're not a failed human being, you are actually a remarkably successful person who's battling unimaginable odds. And having that sort of self-perception flipped like that suddenly made me realize that, okay, I'm never going to fit in. I'm never going to be able to do this normal neurotypical human person stuff. Like that's just off the table for me. But what I can do is be the freakiest weirdo that is at the very core of me, and I can revel in that and I can show that like out loud, and other people who are like me before I had this discovery will see that and go, oh, maybe I can do that too. If she can be that in public out loud, then maybe it's okay for me to be me in public out loud as well. And it wasn't a fast thing. I mean, I'm now 45, and I think it was only really maybe last year that I fully stepped into it. And that came from, I had this kind of alter ego called Zuzu, who was always like the best version of me. She was just like, she was glamorous, she was smart, she was fearless, she just did whatever the hell that she wanted to do. And I always had this thing in my head like, oh, in any situation, like what would the Zuzu version of me do?
Yes.
And then about 2 years ago, I dyed my hair pink. I had pink hair when I was in my teens and I loved it. And then I felt like I couldn't do that as a responsible professional grown-up person. And
Yes.
2 years ago, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. My hair is pink. This is my natural hair color. It brings me joy. So I
I
did that.
relate so much. Most of my hair has been pink the last 2 years. This is like the first time, like the last 2 weeks is the first time in years that it hasn't been pink. And I used to like, it would like get to the time it needed to be dyed again. And I'd be like, I feel sad. It isn't me anymore. It's not
I can
me.
literally feel my life force draining away as the dye
It's
goes.
exactly.
So that was a huge thing. And then my husband is a photographer, he's an incredible photographer. And I got him to do a brand shoot with me. And we spent 3 days taking photographs for just the very ordinary website I had at the time. And when he processed them and we looked through them, I was like, oh my God, that's Zuzu. Like it was like I have come into focus. That is who I am now. It's not what would Zuzu do. Like that's me now. And then the website fell out of me in about 10 days. I was just like, I know exactly what I need to do. Now I know like all of the other stuff got stripped away. And it was the moment of incredible crystal clarity. And I just did everything that I had always wanted to do. And that's what came out, you know?
So it's like there's like the before the website and the photo shoot and everything you, and then the after you almost. It's like it feels like
Yeah.
there was like a timestamp of, and now like if you believe in like alternate like universes realities, it's like, and now Ellie has stepped through the door of full self in
Yeah.
this reality right now.
It's like a dam, you know? It's like all of this stuff was building up and building up and building up. And then as soon as I saw those photographs, it's like the dam burst and the whole thing came pouring out, you know?
Oh wow. Wow. Tell me like a little bit of embodiment stuff. Like how did it feel to like you, let's talk about the right after you see the photographs, you have the website done, you're the Ellie just after that. How do you feel in that moment? Like what does it feel like in your body?
Mm. I suppose the it's very abstract, but I felt it just felt right. Like there was this it felt expansive. Like I knew I was onto something that I had never seen anybody really do before. Like there are a few people out there who are doing something sort of uh, similar in vibe, um, or similar in like structure, like doing something that's really idiosyncratic. And I've seen more and more of them popping up, um, kind of since I built mine. But really, it was this sense of like this is just the way it has to be, and I understand that I'm not taking an easy path here, but this is the right path. And every time I look at it, every time I thought about it, I just started grinning. Like it's just intensely joyful.
I love that. And I am going to dig more into this because we say words that sound like out there to people. We say, "Oh, it's when you're aligned and everything feels right." It's you just see it and you know, but I'm like there's so many people that go, "But how do I know?" And what does alignment feel like? And how do I know when it's my thing? Like there's so many second guessings out there. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's like until you do the brave thing, until you start stepping forward, until you're like there, it is an unknowing. And then all of a sudden, for me anyway, for so many people I've interviewed, it's like you get there and then and it's almost like there isn't a there, but there is. But anyway, you're there. And all of a sudden you see like the whole world is different from then on out. It's like there's new
Yeah,
eyes, there's a new embodiment, there's like possibilities of like the ease of putting your website together. Like exactly. And it's not that everything becomes easy, but it's like all of the sudden when you have the vision and the embodiment of you, like the next steps become so much more clear, so much more quickly. It's like boom, 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 boom. You still have to do the work. Oh no, you still have to build the damn site. You still have to do the things. It's a different variety of work. But like yeah, like the feeling, the understanding, the knowing, the seeing. But it's like you have to like go through the process of first I'm gonna dabble and dye my hair pink. Now I'm gonna dabble in this. And now it feels right to do this. And it's like all of the sudden pieces come together. Does that sound like resounding to you?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was like everything was sort of slightly out of focus.
Yeah.
And even though I was doing all the right quote unquote things and, performing all the steps that I knew how to, I mean, I've worked in marketing for years. I know how businesses work. I've almost exclusively been self-employed throughout my life. Like I know what the building blocks are. I know how it works. And there was something that just felt, I mean, out of alignment is such a cliched way of putting it. Like you
I
say, like
know.
it's
It's like the words are so stupid. It's like if I hear the word transformational again, I'm seriously going to gouge my ears out. And yet it's like I'm having a hard time finding the word.
yeah. And it was just like everything suddenly clicked. Like it was almost audible. And it was like,
Mhm.
this shouldn't make any sense. And yet I feel this indescribable joy and rightness, and I'm full of energy. I'm full of enthusiasm. Like it feels like I'm getting away with something.
Yes.
And I think until you feel that kind of like, oh, click, you haven't got there yet. That's literally if you know, you don't know until you know. And that's what the knowing is. So if you haven't felt that yet, you don't know
It's
yet.
not it. Yeah, but like that's the thing is so many of our audiences is like a lot of what we're about want that so badly. They can see it in you, they can see it in me, they can see it in other people, and they see the joy. And it's like there's a light coming from inside of you. You know what I mean? And they see it expressed and they're like, oh, I know that's not my thing, but like I want my thing to be my thing. So take us back a little bit because we're going to kind of explore this. Take us back a little bit for like right before then, right before you were starting to dye your hair pink and moving in this direction. How did you start making those decisions? What were the inspirations and the actions looking like so that you could go, yeah, I think I'm going to do this next? Because it's like those baby steps that happen before that I think are so revealing.
I think it comes down to the fact that I felt like I was wearing somebody else's skin. Like I felt itchy in my psyche. Like it just had this the opposite sense of what we've just been talking about. It was just this feeling of I'm so frustrated. Everything, like nothing I'm doing is working, or it's working a bit, but it doesn't feel right. I'm living the dream, and yet I'm grumpy and I'm miserable, and like I know it's not exactly the thing that I want. I know I'm compromising on stuff, but I can't quite see where it is. I just felt fuzzy and confused and itchy. And I think it's that I think it's Elizabeth Gilbert who she said at some point, like at some point you just get sick of your own shit. Like you just get sick of all the bullshit in your head and that, oh, I have to do this and I should do it like that, and oh, but I'm this kind of person, and my husband wouldn't like it, my mother wouldn't like it, my best friend wouldn't like it if I did the thing that I really want to do. Because I firmly believe that all of us know exactly what it is that we want to do. But often that tiny little jewel is hidden under so much, like, I don't know, it feels like layers of wet cardboard, it's just like buried under this huge rubbish dump of our own baggage, our own trauma, our own fears, other people's expectations, our responsibilities and obligations. And so every time you think about like, what do I really want to do? You're caveating yourself. Like you're constantly saying like, oh, well, I have to do the thing that's practical, or I have to do the thing that's guaranteed to make me money, or I have to do the thing that, my family will approve of. And then you wonder why, like, this isn't okay. I've started doing this and it still doesn't feel right. So what is it that I really want to do? It's like you know. And I think I just got to that stage where I was like, I keep cutting myself off as soon as I go down this, like, oh, you know, what I really would love to do in an ideal world is, I didn't even know the shape of it, but it's like, I want something that feels like huge, like an explosion, like nothing anybody has seen before. Like I want to be, I don't know, like Bowie level visionary. Like I want to do like
Yes.
Gaga-esque productions. Like that's what I want. Thinking about doing stuff like that makes me jump up and down in my chair, you know?
Yes.
Um like that's yes, that. Um, but of course, like, well, you know, that's not how people sell art on the internet, and that's not how this is done, and that's not how that is done. I've got to put myself into a nice little box. And eventually I got sick of all of that because it wasn't really doing it for me anyway. Even the things that were working felt hard and boring, and I just didn't want to. And so I was like, well, what would it look like if I started doing, you know, obviously I don't have an enormous team of people and endless wealth to put on like a Gaga level production. But I have a brain that is constantly pumping out ideas. Thank you very much, ADHD. And I have a lot of skills. I have a lot of resources, you know. I have people who care about me and can help me out with stuff. So, what is the version of the thing that makes me jump up and down in my chair that I can actually achieve right now? Like, what's the first little baby step towards that? And yeah, how about a website that feels like an art project? How about I did a sales campaign last year for a new collection, which was all about the collection was about leaving an abusive relationship and moving to Copenhagen, and the way that my life sort of opened up and I started on this journey to finding myself. But rather than doing a classic kind of launch campaign, I created this 2-week scavenger hunt like photo essay where you follow me around Copenhagen looking at all of these kind of significant locations, and it leads you through to this kind of big reveal that, oh, we've been following me like 10 years ago and this is the journey and this is what came out of it. And it was fantastic, and it scratched that itch, you know. It's not Gaga level, but it's in the same wheelhouse, you know.
Yes. Yes. I'm like, these kind of conversations make me so excited because I'm like, yes, it's like understanding how things work, but additionally, it's like, ooh, but what if I saw it this completely different way? And what if I was inspired by Gaga? And if I was inspired by this, and I could do it like there's such a creative, like they're going on a journey with me. Like it's brilliant. I'm just telling you, it is brilliant the way you've done that. Can we go back? I want to have a little bit of a conversation. It takes a certain amount of healing to get to a place where you can do the things that you're talking about, to get to the place where your brain is safe enough to open up and go, I can do this. Can you tell us a little bit about what healing looked like for you so that you could get to this point? Because I'm like, yes, expansive and all of these things, and people are sitting in there scared, and this is the conversations, and you're not going to have this conversation, but the conversations that drive me crazy is like, well, I went to my therapist and we did the things and I had some transformation over time. And I'm like, I get it, and therapy's good and whatever. But I'm like, no, what did the day to day look like? Like when you were having a really shitty day and you didn't believe in yourself, like what did you actually do? Like that's the things that are like, tell us, can you tell us a little bit more about your healing journey and the what you really did to do the healing for you?
I'm so glad that you brought this up because I think it's such an important part of the puzzle. And I absolutely could not be doing what I'm doing now if I hadn't have been through that process. And for me, I was fortunate enough after a lifetime of toxic, awful relationships. I have a difficult relationship with my parents, and that led into, as it does for so many of us, a whole lot of toxic relationships with people who wanted to take advantage of me and were abusive and yada yada yada. I was incredibly fortunate to meet a man who is one of the most incredible people I have ever met in my entire life. He had the ability to hold space for me to become the person that I was always supposed to be. It's really interesting. A friend of mine, Tara Lever, who's also an amazing artist, she wrote this article about um this can sound really weird. She wrote an article about quantum physics and how the act of observing a particle forces it into place. So in quantum physics, you have the wave, which is the natural state, and then as soon as it's observed, it becomes a particle and it's fixed. And the way that I describe my relationship with my husband is that he saw the wave when everybody else saw the particle. So he actually allowed me to push out to the very edges of myself and provided this space where whatever I did was okay. And I was allowed to be exactly who I was without, like, if I contradicted myself, he'd be like, okay, yeah. You know, if I was a completely different person from day to day, he'd be like, yeah, okay. And he just, I know, and there's part of me that's like, oh God, this is the most unfeminist thing, like a man saved you. But it was about my relationship with him taught me what a proper relationship looked like, or like a way of relating to other people, not just in a romantic sense, which meant that all of a sudden I could see in sharp relief all of the ways that I had been taken advantage of, or had sold myself short, or had like crumpled parts of myself up. Like his just steady, like, safeness just transformed the way that I related to the world as a whole, if that makes sense. And that was honestly the most healing thing in the world, because it enabled me to regulate my nervous system down to a point where I felt safe for the first time in my life. And from that place, I could start patching up the broken bits, or realizing that a lot of stuff that I thought was broken wasn't actually broken at all.
Yeah. Well, and I think the takeaway here is somebody to hold space for you, somebody who's
Yeah.
safe. It doesn't have to be a spouse or, you know, romantic partner. It really can be your best friend. It
Yeah.
can be your therapist. It can be like basically finding people in the world that are that safe groundedness. You get to explore, you get to be. And sometimes it's a community. You may not have somebody
Yeah.
close in your space, and that's one of the things you do is build community. Can you share with us a little bit more about the community you've built? Because I think that's really important. You know, people out there can listen and go, "Ah, she's so lucky. Gosh, I wish I had," you know, and true to a point. Additionally, there's ways to find community that can hold space for you, and building community that feels safe is a real gift. Can you share with me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think community is a big part of this as well, like finding other people who understand you. And I think once you have that sort of initial anchor, then it's much more easy to go out and do that. But community is interesting, because if you want to build a community around you, it requires you to be vulnerable. It requires you to sort of show up and go first, because we're all terrified. We're all terrified of rejection. We all crave community, but we're terrified of rejection. And one of the things that really bonds people together, I always thought this is a really interesting technique, is that people like what is familiar to them, and they like being like, if you're in a one-to-one relationship with someone, they like it when they know that you like them.
They do like that.
which is kind of, you know, if you're willing to go like, hey, I'm really picking up your vibe, like let's have coffee sometime, that feels so excruciating to do, But 9 times out of 10, the other person's like, oh, you like my vibe? Yeah, I'll have coffee with you. That sounds great.
We're also nervous to be the one that's like, I kind of think fine. Yeah, it's so
Yeah,
funny because
yeah.
yeah, and yet that's what the other person's craving.
Exactly, exactly. And I think there are so many existing communities. I mean, we live in the age of the internet, which, I mean, I firmly believe it's both the worst thing to happen to humanity, but also the absolute best thing that has happened to humanity. Especially if you're someone who's a bit of a weirdo and maybe you live in an area that you don't really jive with kind of in real life. I mean, I live in a country where I don't speak the language particularly well. Um, and is very kind of closed off and very sort of beige and conservative, and they don't really understand like this at all. But I have found, fortunately, tiny little pockets of people that I have brought together. Like, I'm the one who has the parties, I'm the one who introduces people to each other, and I feel like being the hub, being the people who's like, oh, Ellie might know someone who's good at this, or who knows this, or Ellie might know some cool people that I would get on with as well. Like, I really found that being in that role, in a sort of leadership role, I mean, that sounds very corporate, but in that community sense, really has enabled me to develop my own community as well. And I think that me being able to show up and be vulnerable in public has been the biggest factors in me connecting with people all over the world and being able to gather together this community, which has been described as a safe space to be exactly who you are, which is the highest compliment anybody could ever pay me, really.
How do people connect with you in your community? What does that actually look like? I know you have like your website and you have a YouTube channel. How can people like find more of this kind of community? And then we're going to get into lightning round after that. But I'm like, tell people a little bit more about where they can, if they're like listening to you and they're like, oh my gosh, I need this in my life. I need more of this feeling in my life. How can I connect to a community like this?
So the two main places are my YouTube channel. I have a pretty hopping comment section. It's still a small channel at the moment, but the comments are awesome and the people in there are just gorgeous. I have my newsletter. I put a newsletter out weekly, which is it's a conversation. So people respond to me, people reply to me, people talk about what they're going through, what their struggles are. If I can connect somebody with something, I've just recently somebody in my YouTube comments was lamenting the fact that I'd put out a video about going to Copenhagen Zine Fest and finding some really cool people, and she was like, oh, I wish we had something like that in my area. I live in wherever it was. And so I looked it up for her and I did some Googling and I kind of followed some threads that I'd been finding, and I was like, well, actually there's this place which is on actually next weekend, like,
Oh,
see
neat.
if you like it. And she got back to me a couple of weeks later and she was like, you know what? I went, it was amazing. I've connected with a whole bunch of people and we're going to like to collaborate on stuff. And I love doing stuff like that for my community. And that's, it's such a wonderful sort of reciprocal relationship that we have there. So I'm not good at groups. I'm not a good sort of group person, but I connect with people individually and I connect individuals to each other as well. So it's this kind of like, I'm the hub and the community is all around me.
Oh, that's great. And like communities can look all different ways too. Like
Yeah.
that support person that how many people do we need? Like it's great to have lots of numbers, but your life changed because the one person close to you
Yeah.
was just the right person for you. And so
Yeah.
sometimes just being connected with the right person at the right time, you never know how that's going to serve you. I'm like very into this, like the right people show up when you're in the right space and you connect with the right people, and when you're kind of following that line of following your like next heart-centered thing, the next pull in your
Yeah.
heart, the next direction that feels directly inspired for you when you do those things, like those people do show up. And so it's like, oh, if you're feeling connected to Ellie, maybe she knows a person. And then you never know where those things are going to go. It's kind of fascinating to see how they go over time. But I do want to get into lightning round, but you have one more thing. Go ahead.
I just one more thing, because I think when we think community, we think group. We think like going
Yeah,
and joining like a committee or a place where lots of people are all together at the same time. And that's sure, absolutely, that can be a thing. But also your community is just the people that you know. It can be a collection of people that you know in individual circumstances, and that is your group. They don't have to all know each
exactly.
other as well. And I think that's a really important distinction.
That is a great distinction because your community is I'm connected to this person here and they help me here. And then this person over there does this for me. And we really vibe on this other level. And all of those pieces individually become your community. Even if they
Yeah,
aren't like all together, we don't all do lunch together, but it's still my community. Right.
exactly.
All right, we're gonna hop into lightning round. Okay, lightning round. Tell us a piece of art that you either just finished or working on that excites you right now.
Ooh, the biggest, most exciting thing that I've recently finished is a collection called Things Men Have Said to Me Instead of Hello, which is taken from the time that I was online dating in Copenhagen just before I met my husband. And I saved screenshots of the things that men said to me before they said hello, and I turned that into an art collection and had an exhibition back in January. It's a book which is available on my website. It's a whole thing, and I'm the most proud of it, I think, that I have been for a long time.
Oh, I saw that online and I'm like, oh my God, this is brilliant. I'm excited. Okay. Let's see. Maximalist or minimalist?
Maximalist with knobs on.
More is more, am I right?
More is more is more, yes.
Yes. One thing you've stopped apologizing
Being me.
for. Love it. A piece of advice that you happily ignore right now. People come to you with advice and a piece that you're just like, I'm not going to be listening to that.
That a website has to have a clearly defined navigation bar that tells people the things that they expect to see.
I can see that. Do you have a favorite color you like to wear?
Oh, love purple, love black, love blue, yellow. Oh God, all the colors. Don't make me choose.
Yeah, all the color. Like we said, maximalist, more is more is more.
Absolutely.
Uh, one thing your younger self might have needed to hear. You tell one thing to your younger self that they need to
Oh, it's all gonna be okay. It's all gonna be okay.
hear.
Yeah. I didn't think I'd see 25, but here I am, 45, still rocking, better than ever.
Uh, Piece of advice for somebody who lives in a physical location that doesn't understand loudness or color or expression as much. If you don't know, I'm in Albania right now. They
Oh,
wear black.
beige. Wow. Yeah, it's the same in Copenhagen. If it's not beige, it's black. And I
Yeah,
would say,
that's what we
just
have.
go nuts. Be the art exhibit on the street. Like, be the thing that people are gonna see, they're gonna look at and own it. It's your runway.
It is your runway. I love that. Something wonderfully weird you wish most more people embraced about life, about themselves.
Oh, I think I wish people understood the the things that you're scared of sharing, the things that you hide about yourself that you think are kind of too niche for anybody else to understand. Like, that's the stuff that makes you interesting, like the stuff that makes you cringe a bit and it's like, oh God, no one's going to understand that. That's the stuff that we want to hear. That's the stuff that makes you into a lovely, juicy, well-rounded human being.
Hmm. I love that. Okay, can you share with people more about where they can find you after this? Tell them your website again, tell them your YouTube channel. We will have all the links below, y'all, but this is where you can find more.
Excellent. You want to come to Zuzu's houseofcats.com, and that's house spelled the German way, Haus. And sign up for the emails. They're fabulous. I'm very proud of them. And also Zuzu's House of Cats is the YouTube channel as well. And if I'm not on the website, I'll be in the YouTube, and just reach out, say hi, say you heard me on here. Let's chat.
And you guys, like, go check out the collection, the book where it's like, what things men said to me before saying hello. Is that what it was?
Things men have said to me instead of hello.
Instead of hello. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like what a brilliant idea. That cracks me up. Well, Ellie, thank you so, so much for sharing yourself, your wisdom, for expressing yourself in a way that gives people inspiration to be themselves, to showcase more of the beauty of each of us as individuals. I appreciate you so much. And with everyone else, like, share with a friend, go visit Zuzu's House of Cats, obviously. And, remember to love even the ridiculous parts of yourself, because like Ellie said, that is the parts that everyone else is going, oh my gosh, that made me human, that made me understand you. And that's who we are. So with that, this has been Julie May and the Ridiculously You podcast. We will talk to you guys next time.
Share the spark, take it higher, hit subscribe, bring a friend, let the wildness never